We are going to go over the problems on the chapter test. Your problems on the test will be the exact same format, just the numbers are changed. If you can follow along with how to do this with the problem, then you should be okay, even though the numbers are different. So this one says, what is the measure of angle A, what is the measure of angle B, and what is the measure of angle C? And all of them need you to explain why. So there are a couple things you need to remember here about vertical angles and complementary and supplementary angles. So in this first part, vertical angles are angles that share the same vertex and are directly across from each other, or they can be top to bottom from each other. Vertical angles will always have the same measurement. Think of a pair of scissors. If you open and shut them, that part is always the same. The next thing we have that will help us in this problem are supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are when two angles add to 180 degrees. When two angles are on a straight line, they are supplementary. So those two facts are going to help us answer all three of these questions. So we're going to start with the measure of angle A. And if we look at angle A, and we have our 30 degrees, your angle is going to be a different angle. It's not going to be the same. We have that line. If we don't look at anything else, so there we've gotten rid of all the extra stuff and we just have A and 30. We know that those angles are supplementary. So A plus 30 has to add to 180 degrees. So if we just undo the addition by subtracting, we can figure out that A is 150 degrees. And the reasoning why is because they are supplementary. The next thing we need to do is find the measure of angle B. So I have A and B. We know that A and B are on opposite sides of those two lines, so we call those vertical angles. So if A is 150 degrees and vertical angles are equal, B is also 150 degrees. So we know B is equal to 150 degrees because of vertical angles. And the last thing for finding angle C, you can actually use any of the things we just talked about here, but the easiest one is just using vertical angles. We have that 30 degrees and the C is, since they are vertical angles, then we know C is 30 degrees. So that is because of vertical. So there we go. On these problems, we need to find the measure of each missing angle. There's one big concept we need to know here before we do this. This is that the measures of all the angles in a triangle add together to equal 180 degrees. So that actually makes these problems not that bad. We know that every single one of our angles here have to add together. Add is addition here to equal 180 degrees. Okay, so we can do this a couple ways. We can add the 85 and the 55 together and then subtract it from 180, or we can subtract them each individually. I think doing an addition is a little bit easier, so we're going to add 85 plus 55, which would give us 140, plus our x equals 180. So to get rid of adding 140, we are going to subtract 140 there, and we end up with x equals 40. So x is 40 degrees. And we can make sure that we did this problem right by just adding 40 plus 55 plus 85, and that should give us 180 degrees. On the second one, same idea. 25, 100, and y should all add to 180 degrees, because that's how many degrees there are in all the angles in a triangle. So if we add these two pieces together, we get 125 plus some angle is equal to 180 degrees. So to figure out y, we just need to go 180 degrees minus 125 degrees, and we get 55 degrees. This last question, question 3, asks us to answer the questions about this prism. So the first thing they want to know is, what is the shape of the base of this prism? And remember, we know it is a prism because there are two sides opposite of each other that are exactly the same. So this would definitely be a prism because we've got those two shapes. That shape happens to be a triangle. So we've got this triangle. And we've got one side is 6, the other side is 8, and then we also have this part of the triangle is 10. So that is our base of the prism. We also, from this, after we know the base, we can find the area of the base. The area of the base, remember the formula is base times height divided by 2. So our base is 8, our height is 6, so we're going to go 8 times 6 divided by 2. And we can put that into a calculator. We get 48 divided by 2 is 24. So that is the area of our base. Remember, area is the space inside of a two-dimensional object. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to find the height of our prism. So that is the distance between the two bases. So our height, very simple, is 20. The volume of the prism is also a pretty simple process because we already have everything we need. We know that volume is equal to the area of the base times the height. So that means our volume is equal to the area of our base, which is 24, times our height, which is 20. So we just go 24 times 20, and we get 480 cubic units. Okay, the last thing that we need to do is we need to find the surface area of the prism. So if we have our prism up here, our surface area is going to be the easiest to find using the net. So we're going to use the net to find the surface area of the prism. So that means we need to find the area of the base, and then we're going to take this giant rectangle and find that area and add all of the areas together. We already know the area of the base, so that's the great part. We already found the area of the base was 24. So we've got here 24, and this area of this base is also 24. Now we just need to find the area of the giant rectangle. And you can find the area of each individual rectangle. It's just this is a little shortcut that we can do. So we have area of a rectangle is length times width. We know our width here, this right here, is 20. And then we can find our length by just seeing how long this length is with the 6, 8, and 10. So 6 plus 8 plus 10 would give us 24. So the length is 24. So the length times the width of this rectangle, 24 times 10, that's a funny one. We already found that. That's 480. So to find the surface area, we just add all of our pieces together. And we go 480. I add the 24s together, that's 48. 480 plus 48 is 528 cubic or square units. So 528 square units. And that is all you need to do. I am not going to stress on you putting the units on this. We are just trying to get the basics down here. So just follow the steps and you should be okay.